All right, hey folks, how's it going? Michael here. I'm just gonna showcase a little thing that I thought I would pre-record, but I don't like doing things in post. I do just like using Twitch to do everything, and so here I am. And what I'm gonna showcase here is basically a lag comparison I did between my MiSTer and the original PCB of a sprayed, and I also did a comparison against my PS4 sitting in a Tulix. And I just wanted to kind of figure out if am I gonna sell my original sprayed board because the MiSTer is just as good as the original thing. And that's kind of what I wanted to compare with this comparison that I've done. So what I essentially did, I put up a camera in front of the cab, and I have the joystick in the field of view here, right? So I basically just release the stick, and that will kind of show like when movement stops and and you can then see on the screen how it progresses. So let me just zoom in here a little bit here. So I'm using Camtasia here to just like step the frames, right? So what I want to showcase here is that you can see that the joystick here is completely straight, right? Because I release it and it's straight, and it's not supposed to show any movement on the screen after that, right? So that's what I indicate with the green dot here, right? And then we step like, yeah, we still have movement. I mean, the joystick is flapping because there's a spring, of course, right? So at the end of the day, so here we have the joystick has disengaged the switch in the joystick that indicates you pull left, right? So you have 1 frame, 2 frames, and on the 3rd frame, let's see here. So 1, 2, 3, right? So there is no change in between there, right? When we step forward, right? Because it kind of depends on which side of the animation the number is here, right? So we go from releasing the stick, we have 1 frame of movement, 2 frames of movements, and on the 3rd, it's just completely still, right? Because we can compare the next frame there's no movement whatsoever, and the joystick is completely dead centered, right? And so we basically have 2 frames of input lag on the PCB. And stepping over to the MiSTer, I have the MiSTer Cade first here, and similar thing here. Let me just step to. So we got the joystick here, dead center. We have released it, and then we have 1, 2, 3, right? And there's no movement. It's just a difference in animation, right? Because that's what the character does. But at the end of the day, it's completely stopped after 2 frames. 1, 2, and on the 3rd frame is completely still. And we can also verify that on next frame that the character is completely still, right? So comparing the MiSTer Cade versus the original PCB, there's no difference. It's exactly the same. There's 2 frames of input lag. And I've also looked at other databases that compares input lag, right? And I can see that most of the Cade PCBs from this era has 2 frames of lag, right? So my methodology for comparing this between the PCB and the MiSTer Cade kind of hit the exact same values as that database that I found from Electric Underground. And just for shits and giggles, I loaded up a sprayed on my PS4 to kind of do the same thing. And let me just step up here, right? So there we go. We got the joystick centered here, right? We see movement back and forth. There we go. We release the stick. And then we have 1, 2, 3, PS4, and after 5 frames of there's basically no movement, right? So it's basically twice the input lag. And this is a PS4 using the Brook Universal Fighting Adapter and sitting at Ulix with whatever monitor they put in there, right? But at the end of the day, it's a pretty decent, yeah, because all these modern systems, HDMI and all that crap, they just add input latency, right? So, and I think Spraid it's a pretty good port, right? But at the end of the day, it's twice the input lag compared to the PCB and the MiSTerCade. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and there's only like a small change in the animation there, right? So we have twice the input lag. But there's also some ghosting going on. So so I don't quite know for 100% sure if it is like 4 or 5 or 4.5 for that matter, right? And everything was kind of captured in 60 frames per second, right? So that's why I can sit here and kind of step frame by frame and measure it up as I'm doing it, and getting the similar results to what other comparisons have done. But the thing is, I have not seen any MiSTerCade specific comparison with shmups, and I couldn't find any when I was looking, and that's why I kind of wanted to do the comparison myself and see what results I might get, right? And yeah, so that's pretty much it. And if anyone wants to buy a Spraid PCB with the original Japanese ROMs, which is basically the buggy ones that I've found out, I have one for sale. So anyhow, thanks for hanging out and checking this out. I just wanted to get the content out there, and I'm going to put it on YouTube later. And please check out the stream. I'm going to do some more Mr. and shmups from my cabs up here in the office. And take care. Until then, cheers.